Um, Good afternoon, everybody. We'll be starting shortly. Good afternoon, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you joining us today for our Summer Internship Talk series. This is a 2-day event curated to help you gain first hand insights into the internship experiences of your peers across diverse domains. Today is day one, and we are thrilled to host speakers from the fields of supply chain and consulting. They will be sharing their journeys, application strategies, work experiences, and some tips to help you succeed in these roles. We will be having a dedicated question and answer session at the end. So please feel free to send in your questions through the Google Form link that has already been shared in the chat. We will be taking up as many questions as time permits. So, to kick things off, I am delighted to introduce our first speaker, Karthik Nair, who will be interning in the supply chain division at Hindustan Unilever Limited. Over to you, Karthik.
Can you see me, Jera? And can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. Also, my slides are visible, right?
Yes, they are.
Perfect. Yeah. Right. So, hello everyone. I'm Karthik, and like you said, I'll be interning with Hindustan Unilever as a supply chain intern this summer of 2025. So, to begin my talk, let me just introduce you to what Hindustan Unilever does. Although a lot of you might already be familiar with Unilever, but still for the benefit of others, let me just introduce you to HUL and its products. So FMCG is a HUL is a FMCG company. What a FMCG is basically fast moving consumer goods. So basically stuff that you pick up from the shelf when you're at a grocery store, all of them come under the category of fast moving consumer goods. So, fortunately or unfortunately, in India, the most of the fast-moving consumer goods come under the label of two, three umbrella corporations. So it's sort of a oligopoly. So HUL is one of them, and in fact, by market share, HUL is the largest FMCG company in India, and it's the sixth largest consumer goods company worldwide. So although it has Hindustan in it, it's not actually an Indian company. It's a subsidiary of its parent company called Unilever, which is headquartered in London. So yeah, I mean, the bottom right picture shows a hamper that actually I received very recently as part of my joining process in HUL. So you guys can see that it has a spectrum of products, right from floor cleaner to coffee to tea to toothpaste. They have everything. So they have lots of products. I don't think even every HUL employee themselves would be knowing each and every product that they manufacture. So it's a huge company. The scale at which they operate is huge. Uh, okay, moving on. Let me talk about some of the other companies which also come for its SCM and operations role. So in case you don't get in HUL, don't get disheartened. You have many more opportunities. So these three are the companies which come for summer internship specifically. But in PS2 and in placements, there are many more companies which come for supply chain role. So I think the first company to come is Mondelez. Actually, I think Mondelez has already come for the junior batch, and I think PNG has also already come for the junior batch. After that, HUL comes after your day zero and day one gets over. HUL comes post day one, and after a few weeks, AB and Bev also shows up. So when HUL shows up, they offer two roles, right? So as you can see, the first role is a data analyst role, and the second role is a supply chain role. The eligibility for data analyst is data analyst is open only for the CS people, and CGPA is 6 plus. So if you are a 6 plus CGPA and you are in CS branch, you are eligible for applying in the data analyst role of HUL. So this time they made only one offer, and in supply chain they made three offers, but this number varies from year to year. I think last year they gave seven offers in total. Two were in the data analyst role, and five were in the supply chain role. For supply chain, if you are in EC, Triple E, ENI, manufacturing, mechanical, or chemical, you're eligible to apply, provided you have a 6 plus CGPA. Correct. Moving on, I think this is the most important part of my talk, and this is why all of you guys are here. Let me walk you guys through the application process. So the first, and I think, in my opinion, the most important part of the application process is the resume shortlisting. So when HUL comes, you guys are sent a mail through placement unit or through superset, and then you have to apply using a standard superset format for HUL, and you also get a form link. So you have to fill that form and apply using a resume for HUL. So if I remember correctly, around 30 people got shortlisted in that process. So 30 resumes were selected, and uh, 30 resumes in supply chain, and if I'm not wrong, around 15 in data analysis. So the second round of screening was an online aptitude test and a recorded interview. So I'll be talking about each round in detail further. So till right now, I'm just giving like an overview of the entire process. So after our resumes were shortlisted, the next day itself we had the second screening round, which is an online aptitude test and a recorded interview. So after that, after this process, I think around 12 people made the cut, and these 12 people were scheduled for an online interview with some company employee. So this company employee is not necessarily always an HR. It can be anything. It can be anyone. In my case, it was the quality head of Southeast Asia. So it's not even necessary that this person is going to be in the supply chain domain. It can be in any domain. That person can be in any domain. So after the online interview, three people were selected in supply chain, and there was one person, Tanupriya, was taken in data analysis. So moving forward, the first process was resume shortlisting. Guys, although the CGPA criteria was 6 plus, but fortunately, unfortunately, we saw some sort of trend in the candidates who got shortlisted. All of them were 7.5 plus, 8 plus CGPA. So CGPA is going to be very, very important. So if you're in your first year or if you're a dualite, I think, and if you still have time, do work on your CGPA, right? It's going to be really, really important for, I think, not just HUL, but for multiple companies out there which come for SI. And yeah, it's pretty standard to keep your resume limited to one page only. You cannot have a 2 page, 3 page long resume. Nobody in HR has a time to read a 2 page long resume. In fact, forget about that. Nobody even in HR has a time to read the entire 1 page resume. So you have to be very crisp. You have to highlight the most important points, and it has to be of 1 page only. It cannot exceed 1 page. So the third point is include as many numeric and quantitative metrics as possible. So in supply chain and operations, what is supply chain and operation? At the core of it, it's problem solving, right? So your impact that you have created in every project that you've worked on, or every company that you've worked with, it's very, very important. So how do you highlight the impact that you have created? It's through numeric or quantitative metrics. So in your resume, you need to have a very clear before versus after situation. That before you went there, this was the situation, but after I worked there for 2 months, I got 20% reduction in cost, or a 20% increase in efficiency. So this quantitative metric is very important, and make sure that you guys bold it. So that when the HR is going through your resume, this number has to pop, right? All of these numbers should pop to the reader. The fourth point is make your resume look as diverse as possible. So when supply chain companies come for recruitment, they're not really expecting people to have, knowledge on supply chain or operations beforehand. So they're just looking at people who are very good at execution and who are very good at problem solving. So make your resume as diverse as possible. If you think that you've actually created an impact by working in some company or in some club, make sure you do include it. And you can sugarcoat it a little bit. And the point is that you have to paint yourself in best light, right? So, and you never know that what might strike a chord with the HR, what might strike a chord with the recruiter. So make sure it's as diverse as possible, and it includes everything that you have worked on and has created an impact, and in which you have created a positive impact, guys. And the next point is really, really, really important. Do not lie on your resume, because eventually you will get caught, and that's game over for you. And that will not only jeopardize your chances of getting shortlisted in HUL, getting selected in HUL, but in multiple companies, because all of these HRs are actually connected, and it's a very close knit group. So word spreads around, and you can be bad mouthed by the particular HR in HUL. So if you lie on your resume, you will get caught. Do not bullshit on your resume. You can sugarcoat it. You cannot fabricate stuff and put it on your resume. That's a big red flag, and that's a big no. Please do not do this, because not only does it reduce your chances of getting selected to zero, but it also does not reflect very well on the college's reputation, right? The college's credibility also gets affected by this. So next point is you have to be a sponge, right? You have to absorb as much information as possible. And if I remember correctly, when I was in my PS1, there was a workshop, a resume building workshop organized by the training unit. So if that the same workshop is being conducted this time, I would highly recommend you guys to join that. And because that workshop was very, very helpful, they had two alumni from BCG who came and taught us about how do we create how do we paint ourselves in best possible light in 1 page, right? It was very, very important, and I learned a lot. You can also send your resumes to seniors and ask them for suggestions, ask them for changes. And when you're doing this, make sure you also mention the company you're applying for and also the role you're applying for, right? So, and also send it to credible seniors. Do not like clutter your mind. Too many chefs spoil the broth. So best to send your resume to 3 4 credible seniors, take their suggestions and try to implement them if you like it. So okay, huh? So if you have done any particular project or any particular subject in supply chain or operations, make sure you include it in your resume. And the last point is you have to follow a standard format, right? Make sure is if it's star, then make sure the entire resume is in star format. If it's in reverse star, make sure the entire format is in reverse star format. Uh, I'm not going to explain these right now because of the time constraint, but this will be covered in detail in your resume building workshop organized by training unit. So make sure you attend that, or else you can chat GPT this or Google this. It will be very, very helpful for you guys. The next round was an online aptitude test. Like I said, after you submit your resume, around 30 people got shortlisted. And after that, I think after the shortlist, the very next day we had a test. So we had a very, very small time period, small time frame to prepare for the second round of screening. So in the second round of screening, you had two components to it. The first part was an online aptitude test. The second part was a recorded interview. So in the first part, which is the online aptitude test, it was pretty basic. I remember a lot of statistics-based questions being asked in this online aptitude test. And other than that, it had a little bit of grammar. It also had a little bit of work or wage questions. So I think if you practice from Greek Geeks for Geeks for this, that should be enough. And overall, you just have to be, you just have to be alert, and your presence of mind is what matters in this round. You can't really sort of prepare in advance for this round. It's an aptitude test, so make sure you're very quick, especially with the statistics part. The statistics questions tend to be a little lengthy sometimes, so make sure you're quick and you're accurate. Yeah, that's pretty much it about online aptitude test. The next component of this particular round was recorded interview. This was slightly tricky. So so the platform via which they conduct the recorded interview is called HireView, like I've mentioned in my first point. What happens in HireView is that you get a stipulated time period, say like 60 seconds, and the question is flashed in front of you. They have 60 seconds to read the question and formulate that answer. As soon as that 60 seconds timer gets over, you have another 2 to 3 minutes to answer that question. And then the recording will start. So you do not have an option to pause the recording. You do not have an option to delay that recording. As soon as 60 seconds are over, the recording starts. So this is slightly tricky because in case you forget your flow of thought or you're short of words, you're not able to articulate your thought well, then you actually get to see yourself on the camera fumble. And that's very embarrassing. Trust me, it's actually very embarrassing. Happened with me in one of the questions. So this is slightly tricky. In this round, make sure you do not fumble. Yeah, do not stutter, because once you start stuttering, then that's like a downward spiral, and it does not end well. It happened with me in one of the questions where I started stuttering, and then I looked myself in the recording, and then it all went down here. And that question was horrible, absolutely horrible. But how can you prepare for this round in advance? Guys, use exploit Chat GPT, exploit Perplexity, and exploit Claude AI, exploit all of the LLMs that are available. So I remember one night before this round, I had Chat GPT opened in one tab, I had Claude AI opened in one tab, I had all the other LLMs opened in different tabs, and I was trying to learn as much about. I was trying to get familiar with the lingo that is used in supply chain, right? So I think the prompts that I entered was something like top 20 keywords used in supply chain, top 40, top 40 most used words in operations management, stuff like that. So what happened was ChatGPT listed down 20 words, described all of those 20 words, and all of those words, all of that lingo, I sort of used in this recorded interview. So words like cross docking, words like diversifying my supply chain footprint, what is a depot, what is a warehouse, all of this was very important, and it actually helped me during this round. So to give you an example of a question, like I got a question in which they said that the quality at one of their plants in some product is going down. So what are the possible steps that you can do, that you can implement to tackle this situation? So this is one question that I got, and I mean, yeah, you have to talk about all different ideas that you can, anything that comes to your mind, just blurt it out, right? Just blurt it out and be articulate, be very smooth with it, and be fluent. You cannot stutter, like I said. So this is one question that I got. People got different questions. Some guy I talked to got a question related to technology, that how can you integrate technology with supply chain to sort of increase the efficiency at different HUL factories. So it can be anything. It varies from year to year, but as long as you know you're calm, you're composed, and you're fluent, you do not stutter, it's going to be fine. The recorded interview is not going to be very difficult for you. So after this round, around 12 people got selected in supply chain. So both of this is there are two different components of one single round. After both of these components get over, there was a screening round. Around 18 people could not make it. There were 12 people selected who made it to the online interview round. So this was the final round of my recruitment process. Like I mentioned, my interview was taken by this lady who is the quality head of supply chain for Southeast Asia operations. And for the online interview, it's very, very, very important that you know you're very well versed with the company's core values, the company's principles, and the company's beliefs, right? Every company has this, right? Whether it's PNG, whether it's HUL, whether it's Mondelez, every company has a set of beliefs, a set of values that it follows, right? And during this online interview, you can expect a lot of HR questions. You can expect a lot of resume grilling. So, like I said, if you have lied in your resume before, you will get caught in this round, because these guys have been doing this for a very, very long time. They've seen so many resumes, and after a couple of back and forth questions, they'll easily be able to figure out that you have bullshitted in your resume. And then once they figured that out, it's over for you. You're not making the cut. So do not lie in your resume. Whatever you have written in your resume should be very, very clear with you. You should be very thorough with the entire content of your resume. Even the CDCs, the technical proficiency, you can expect questions on that. So, like the first, I remember in my resume, the first subject that I had written was operations management, and I actually got asked questions about, some of the inventory management systems, which was taught in operations management. So yeah, these people actually know stuff. They're in this company for years, and they've recruited multiple people like you. So they know stuff, and they can question and grill you on your resume very, very well. So everything that you've written on your resume, please make sure one night before you've gone through it, every project that you've included, make sure that you know how you did that project, what was the purpose of that project, and what was the end results that you achieved by executing that project. If it was a workex that you did in a particular company, make sure you remember what was your approach like, what were the tasks that you did, and what were the results of the tasks that you did. After you went to the company, what were the changes that came about, and how you positively affected, how you left a positive impact in that company. All of this is very important. And also, final thing, guys, do not panic in your interview. Remain very calm, remain composed, because often in these interviews, they're not expecting the right answer. They're looking for the flow of thought that you have. They're looking for your approach, right? How well can you sort of, if a very complex problem is thrown at you, how can you break it down into simpler problems and tackle each simple problem individually to sort of come to a common consensus. So the approach and your thought process, that is very, very important. Make sure you're calm and you're hydrated, and that's it. If you know your resume, you've revised your CDCs, and you're calm, I don't think even the interview should be a problem for you. uh, so yeah, this was all from my side. This was the process that I went through, and I think that's my time. Lovely sharing my experience. I had a lovely time sharing my experience with you guys. But if you guys need any help during the recruitment process or any help in general, you can hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so you can hit me up. I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that insightful session. Your experience and advice will definitely be valuable for everyone looking to explore roles in this domain. Now, before we move on to our next speaker, I have some things I'd like to clarify. Please only send your questions in the Google form that we have pinned in the chat. Also, we will be sharing the recording of this whole talk post the end of the talk on our website. And please try to restrict your questions to the two domains that are being covered today. We have more domains which we'll be covering in tomorrow's talk. So now moving on to our next speaker, we have Pratham, who will be interning with Accenture in the strategy and consulting division. Over to you, Pratham.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, just give me a second. I'll just share my slides. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, hello everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm currently interning with Accenture Strategy and Consulting as a MC Delivery Associate. MC stands for Management Consulting, and I'm here today to tell you guys about the Management Consulting Summer Internship. So, two of the big names that come up for SI in BITS Pilani in consulting domain are BCG and Accenture. For BCG, the BCG Ideathon has recently been concluded, and they also come for the campus recruitment process. As for Accenture, there are two routes to this summer internship. The first one is the campus recruitment process, and the other one is the Strategy Connect case competition. I'll so I personally got into the summer internship through the Strategy Connect route, but I'll also tell you guys briefly about how the campus recruitment process works, while my entire presentation will focus in detail on the case competition wala part. So the campus recruitment process basically had three rounds. The first one was the aptitude test, which had questions in business domain, strategy domain, and a few basic quantitative aptitude questions, basic maths. And whoever cleared this round, they were passed on to the next round, which was the resume shortlisting round. Now, as the most of the tips that Karthik told you about the resume are applicable here as well in consulting, but I'll delve deep into that in a later part of my presentation as well. And whoever cleared the resume shortlisting round, they were passed on to the interview round. Now, the thing was that the interviews for the campus recruitment process and the finalists of the Strategy Connect case competition, they were conducted at the same time. More on that in the next slide. So, overview about the case competition itself. It's a national level case competition by Accenture Strategy. So, Accenture is one of the biggest companies in the services domain. They offer a lot of services ranging from technology to consulting to special effects and everything. They have five major divisions inside the company itself. Tech being the biggest one of them, while strategy and consulting is the second biggest. I am currently working with strategy and consulting division of Accenture. So this case competition, Strategy Connect, is organized by that. One of the biggest perks is PPI, pre-placement internship. Even though they call it a pre-placement internship, it's an interview for the internship itself. So don't worry about that. So for the top teams of those case competition are awarded that interview. My team was the national runner-up in this competition, and this competition majorly focused on strategic thinking, storytelling, and innovation. So there were three major rounds. This competition went live in the first week of July, if I'm not wrong. So that is around in the second month of your PS1. So you guys have some time during that time. So please, I would say I would encourage everyone to participate in this, irrespective of your branch and all, because when Accenture comes to campus for the recruitment process, the internship is open for all BE branches except for CSE, except for computer science. Whereas this case competition is open for all branches. So especially with the CS folks who are interested in joining Accenture for the consulting domain, I'd encourage you guys to participate in this case comp because it might not be open for you when they come to campus. So yeah, coming to the three rounds. The first round is the online quiz, which is very similar to the quiz rounds that are conducted for other case competitions. Those who haven't participated in any case competition till now and want to pursue a career in consulting, I would recommend that you guys start doing that. There are a lot of case competitions by a lot of organizations and colleges as well being held on Unstop. So just keep checking, keep exploring Unstop, and whenever you think that this is a good enough opportunity or a good enough case competition, do participate in that. And most of these case competitions have an online quiz as the first round. And these quizzes also have a similar set of questions ranging in the domains of strategy, business, and quantitative aptitude, as in basic maths. These might be statistics, basic calculations sometimes, or word problems kind of things. So yeah, your accuracy and your speed matters a lot. Focus on that, and you can also figure out a way to easily trick these systems. But take care of that because Accenture's first round was proctored. So make sure that you do not get caught in that process. And the team, this was a team based case competition, so and the team limitation was 2 to 4 members, and the team leader was only allowed to attempt the test. So that is about it. Coming to round two, whichever team qualified to round two, Accenture released a set of industry specific problem statements. If I'm not wrong, there were around 12 problem statements during my time, sector specific. Let's say my team chose the problem statement which was specific to the pharma sector, but there were also problem statements relating to the supply chain industry, tech industry and sorts. So my specific problem statement was combating counterfeiting of drugs in the pharma industry using Gen AI. Last year, the entire focus of this competition, they highlighted the use of generative AI throughout the competition. And that might as well be the case this year because Accenture right now is focusing a lot on generative AI and transforming systems and organizations through that. So I would suggest that you guys read up on that if you want to, participate in the case comp as well as for the interview rounds. I'll tell you more about that later as well. So round two involved that every qualified team had to choose one problem statement from the list that had been released by Accenture. And they also provided this Animaker software subscription to this Animaker software. It's basically a video generation software, video generation, video editing, wherein you can make animated videos. And they also held a workshop for this specifically, wherein they educated us about what they actually expected out of this round and what form of solutions should we guys be working on. So one of the major points they focused on in the workshop was that attention is something that has become very, very scarce today. And considering that whatever solution or whatever presentation or anything that you're making should be able to grab the viewer's attention very quickly. And one way to do that is through great storytelling. So one of the biggest advice from their side was that any problem which is very technical, and even if your solution is technical to that problem, it should be presented in such a way that any novice, anyone who doesn't understand that industry or that technical problem, should be able to understand the solution very easily. And storytelling is a very good way to do that. And the video that we were supposed to create needed to have some form of story in it. So anyone who's watching it for the first time can easily understand it. Once you had submitted this online video, the shortlisted teams had to present this entire video solution, and we also had to make a deck, a two-slider deck, excluding the introduction slide. And this had to be presented to an Accenture panel. This again was online. And this presentation deck and the video solution itself, both of these were judged on the clarity, impact, feasibility, and the level of research. These were some of the metrics that those guys were looking at. Uh, Coming to the next part, some of the key learnings from this competition were that nowadays, whenever you guys are working and making presentations or presenting some form of solution, you guys need to focus on the storytelling aspect and how to catch the viewer's appeal. And you also need to, at the same time, keep it simple and business friendly while maintaining the feasibility and the real world impact. Some of these presentations and these video solutions need high levels of visuals and narration so that you can engage the audience and they do not get bored when you're presenting your solution. And obviously, since it's a team, since it was a team competition, teamwork matters, and how you guys divide your responsibilities and what work needs to be done by which member. That is important because even during the online round, I remember some of the judges asked us which part was worked on by which member. So you guys need to make sure that you have it figured out amongst your team members and internalize it that this is the part that you will be working on. This is the part that is important. Coming to some of the tips for your resume, as Karthik previously said, use the star. Star stands for situation, task, action, and result, or the reverse star format wherever possible. So this is basically any task. Let's say you're a part of any club and you have, let's say, just organized a workshop on campus for the students. So you need to present that in the situation, task, action, and result format, which is more appealing to companies or to the HR people. Coming to the second point, you can use action verbs, which helps quantify your impact easily. I've just given an example here. Led a four-member team to do whatever XYZ. That is how you can easily quantify your impact, and try to ideally limit your resume to one page. That like just like Karthik said. And in consulting domains, especially, you need to highlight leadership, analytical thinking, and initiative. And you can easily do this through campus PORs, any kind of good projects that you have, and also internships. When Accenture comes on campus, you will easily have your PS1 on your resume. So you can add that as your internship. And if you guys are any part of any consulting clubs or anything, you guys can also add the projects that you work on in those clubs as internships, because I myself did that, and that worked out pretty well for me. And that is a very important tip, that get your resume reviewed by seniors or mentors. And those seniors should be credible, as Karthik said, because it really matters from whom you're taking those tips. Coming to my interview experience, so I got this interview from the case competition, since my team became the final runner-up in that. And my interview was conducted with the shortlisted candidates from the campus recruitment process. So this interview is common to both the campus recruitment and the finalists of the case comp. There were two interviews, both were around 20 minutes. The first one was the HR interview, in which there was an HR person from Accenture, and she just asked me about my resume, a few basic points, and a few common basic questions like what are your strengths and weaknesses, conflict resolution, problem solving, why you. You should prepare for these questions beforehand. It is easy. You can probably do a mock interview with your friends or with your seniors, and be very well thorough with your resume. Like every point that you've written, you should know end to end what that means, what you have done in that role, or what you have done in that POR or in that internship or whatever. Because just these people can catch it very easily, just like Karthik said. So yeah, that is very true. And you guys need to be completely aware of what you have put in your resume. Coming to round two, this was the technical interview, what you can call it as the consulting interview. Again, this lasted for around 20 minutes. And my interview was conducted by a senior consultant who had been working in Accenture for around 13 years. And he started off with the normal question of why consulting. And we talked about, so I had this data analysis project in my resume. And out of those 20 minutes, for almost 10 minutes, I was talking about that itself. So this is a good tip for you guys, that if you have something in your resume that you are really passionate about, or that you know that ये तो बहुत अच्छे से किया हुआ है, so please talk about it during the interview. The interviewer will listen to it if he sees that you know a lot about it. And the main question that I got during my interview is, how would you use Gen AI to streamline end customer service for Amazon-like companies? Again, highlighting Accenture's focus on generative AI in last year, right now as well. While some of my other friends who were shortlisted for the interview, they were asked guesstimates and case studies. So yeah, that is also possible. I wasn't asked those personally, but yeah, guesstimates and case studies were asked, as they should be in a consulting interview. Some of the interview prep tips. So again, resume mastery, prepare examples for every bullet point if you can. Just know that these things might be asked in the interview. Star framework, again, for behavioral questions. The HR might ask you what is one instance when you have displayed good problem solving skills or good conflict resolution skills. So if there is any point in your resume which you think can highlight this, you can use that. If not, you can also use some personal instances from your life where you've shown these skills. That also works. But yes, prepare for these questions in advance, because some of these questions are really repetitive. And I mean, these questions mostly keep repeating in some of the interview or the other, if not consulting in some other domain. So yeah, you can easily prepare for them. In terms of consulting prep, refer to case books like Victor Cheng, Day One, IIT IIM case books, and prepare for cases like profitability, market entry, growth, unconventional cases, guesstimates, and market sizing as well. Be well versed with current trends in the industry, And you can also read case examples on online blogs of McKinsey, BCG, and Accenture itself. And one important tip again is practice with your seniors or your friends or wingies or whatever. When before going to the interview, you can practice your mock, case solving with them. I'm keeping this short. Final takeaways from my entire experience of the case competition and my interview with Accenture are that case comps are actually a very powerful alternate route. And because I myself didn't have a very good CG, but that my performance in the case comp helped me get an edge over that entire thing. And one important aspect for consulting, it basically boils down to problem solving. So think analytically and communicate simply. That is very important. You cannot, keep throwing jargon the entire time. The person in front of you shouldn't get confused. Prepare for both storytelling and structure, like I told you, and be curious. That's the simple advice. Apart from that, I would say Accenture didn't really have a strict CGPA cutoff when they came to campus, and I'm not sure if they had an informal cutoff, but yeah, they made a total of 5 offers for the MC Delivery Associate role in Bitspirani, and yeah, I think that's about it from my end. It was good talking to you guys, telling you about my experience.
Thank you for that engaging session, Pratham. I'm sure your journey and the clarity you brought on consulting will inspire many in the audience to take this path. So we are now opening the floor for questions. Once again, we have already got some questions. So until then, the rest of you, if you have any, you can send in your questions through the Google Form link. I'll start off with specific questions addressed to either of our speakers, and then we'll move on to the general questions. So for Karthik, I have 2 questions. The first one is, what kind of questions are asked related to coursework or CDCs? Are they in depth or only conceptual? And can you share some of the questions you guys were asked?
Yeah, for my interview, uh, they did not delve deep into my CDCs. Mostly my interview was resume grilling based. But for other candidates, I spoke to other candidates after the interview. They were asked about their CDCs in depth. So totally depends on the interviewer. Say you are a mechanical engineering student, and the person interviewing you also, ends up also is coincidentally a mechanical engineer. So he or she will have a very thorough idea about engines, about different mechanisms. So he or she might question you about, your concepts in mechanics of solids or material science or stuff like that. So again, totally depends on your interviewer, but there's a very very good chance that uh, concepts that were taught in your second year are actually asked in your interview. So in-depth concepts can be asked. So to be on the safe side, I would definitely recommend you guys to be very very well versed with those concepts. Go through them again one night before the interview, revise all your concepts, especially those CDCs which you've mentioned at the top of your resume.
I think that clears that question. I have another question that says, if say hypothetically the CGPA cutoff is 7 and I have a CGPA of 6.98, is there any flexibility or will I not get shortlisted?
Yeah, see, I have heard instances of people going with people who are at the brink of the cutoff, at the verge, at the edge of cutoff, going to placement unit and uh, asking Tabir sir to make an exception for them. I think in some cases exceptions were made, but this is actually not something I have a lot of knowledge on. Again, totally depends on Tabir sir's mood, on the company's mood. It's a very dicey situation. I don't think I can. It's a very gray area. There's no black and white answer to this. Yeah, I cannot say yes or no to this question. But if you are at 6.98 and say the cutoff is 7, then I think what you should do is go to Tabir sir, go to PU office, try to convince them to let you pass through this round.
I think that answers that question. Thank you for that. I have some questions for Pratham. So the first question is, can you share some resources for the online quiz you mentioned?
I think yeah, you can just look up for case questions on Google or Geeks for Geeks for that matter, and you'll get more than enough questions for that. But I'll just check if I have any other personalized resources, and if I have those, I'll try to share them. You can just hit me up. Uh, Actually, yeah, I'll just share my number. You can just hit me up on LinkedIn for that matter, yeah,
There's
or my
another
email.
question.
But
Okay. There's a question that is asking why did Accenture not allow CS students for their on-campus recruitment?
I'm actually not very sure about this, but Accenture also came for another role a few days later after they came for the MC Delivery Associate, and this was more of a tech role, I think. I'm not really sure about this, I'll have to check. But I think that role was open for CS students, so might be the reason that they didn't allow CS folks for the consulting role.
Uh, got that.
This is
There's
a very similar parallel to, I think, HUL's case also,
Yeah,
where they
yeah, yeah,
opened the data analyst role only for CS people,
correct.
the CS folks, and the electrical, mechanical, chemical people were allowed to sit in supply chain.
There is one last specific question to you. That is, do you think club projects actually give you an edge if someone not in any of those clubs does not have those projects? So, how would you suggest those particular people tackle this?
So club projects that actually totally depends on what kind of project it is. If it's actually a good project, then you can put it on your resume and that might help you. And if you're not in a club, you can look for remote internships for that matter on LinkedIn, or you can actually just try to hit up some of the companies on LinkedIn which are nowadays looking for people who can work on live projects for them. You can just drop by in the DMs of those companies on LinkedIn and try if they are able to let you work with them on their project. That might help you.
Got that. So we have one last question, which is a more general question. So a lot of our audience members will be going for SI next semester. So they have asked, how should we organize our summer, that is the next 2 months, to prepare for this?
Okay, so I think before that, I just want to say this one thing. Even though during my presentation I said that I didn't have a good CGPA or that Accenture didn't have a CGPA cutoff, I encourage you guys to have a good CGPA to maintain your CGPA at least above 7 so that the majority of roles that come during SI and even in the future are open for you guys. So, yeah, that is one advice. And coming to the question, you can utilize your summer for non-core folks, especially participate in all types of competitions, case comps, and everything that you can see during those 2 months. Utilize that very well, and you can also work on other skills parallelly. Because I personally feel that non-core itself doesn't require any special skills. Like these are the things like consulting and all, but these things can be learned very quickly. On the other hand, you can focus on more specialized skills like data analysis, or you can also start coding for that matter. At least, like, I'm not saying directly get into it, but like at least start off during those 2 months so that you can, once you're on campus in the next semester, if you feel that non-core is not really working out, you can get into that field as well easily. So yeah, build your skills and participate in as many competitions, case comps, and any other competitions as possible. That would be my advice.
Uh, Yeah, so this is actually a very important question because I also had the same question 1 year back. But then after getting an SI, I realized that there's no specific, like Pratham already said, there's no specific path or there's no specific route that I can, lay out and say that this is the perfect uh, path or this is the perfect route to getting an SI. So there's no preparation that you can do as such per se, but the most important thing here is I think that your resume gets shortlisted in the first round. So for that, like Pratham said, do as many case comps as possible. For supply chain roles, maybe learn Power BI, learn other data visualization softwares. Uh, maybe take up a project in supply chain, or build upon your resume in general, because I've been getting a lot of messages on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, asking what are the courses that I can follow, what are the books that I can read for supply chain, for product management. So it's very difficult to answer these questions because even if I say like give you 4 courses on Coursera, which I can give you 4 courses on Six Sigma, I can give you 4 courses on lean manufacturing, it's going to be very easy for me. But then if your purpose is to get an SI and you do all of these courses, and during the recruitment process you do not get shortlisted, then what's the point, right? So I think the most important step here right now is to have a rock solid resume, be very thorough with how you can paint yourself in best possible light. That one pager should represent you thoroughly, show the best version of you. So for that, just take up projects, do consulting, case comps, try to diversify your resume, and learn how to write a resume. That's actually a very underrated skill. Many people take it for granted. People think that, okay, now I have these projects, I'll have a very good resume. Only if you are able to convey it well to the other person does it become a very good resume. Even if your project is world class, it has created huge impact, it's at a huge scale, doesn't matter if you're not able to sort of convey it properly. So yeah, learn how to build a resume. I think the resume part is the most important this summer for anyone. And other than that, focus on your PS1, because most of you will include that in your work. So you'll also, in my case personally, I worked at Siemens. The role was very similar to what I'll be doing at HUL this summer. So I was asked a lot of questions about what work I did at Siemens, what was the work culture like, how I executed my tasks. So do focus on your PS1 as well. You've paid a hefty amount for it, so try to learn as much as you can from your PS1 station as well.
We have two last questions. I guess we'll end with that. There's one specific question addressed to you, Pratham, that is, what do you suggest for freshers to do in their summer break to get a head start?
Okay. So for freshers, I think you guys, since you guys have a lot of free time, you guys, like at least second years are doing on the PS1, you guys can look for internships again. Again, something for a spike in your resume. Even if you're not getting, let's say, an on-site internship, look for projects that you can do with companies. And if both of these things are not possible, come to case comps, participate in as many case comps or anything as possible. And again, the last one is work on your skills. Work on, let's say, start learning Python, start learning data analysis, data visualization, like Karthik said, Power BI, or let's just start with coding for that matter. Any kind of skills that you can muster up in those 2 months, anything that reflects on your resume, anything that you can quantify in any aspect, try to do that. And yeah, I think that should be more than enough.
Thank you for that. So we have one last question which is addressed to both of you, and this will be the last question for the day. And that is, if a company comes in 3.2, then is the CGPA counted till 3.1 or only till your PS1? And I suppose you could extend this to 3.1 as well.
If I'm not wrong, in 3.2 your 3.1 CG was considered, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's up to like जितना जल्दी CG आ जाएगा उस पर डिपेंड करता है.
करेक्ट. सो यार अपना केस में ऐसा हुआ था कि डे 0 एंड डे 1 फॉर द डे 0 एंड डे 1 कंपनीज, since they came as soon as campus reopened, we did not get our PS1 CGs by then. So I think initially day 0 and I think the entire day 0 went without our PS1 CGPAs, post PS1 CGPAs. But after that, a lot of people went to AUGSD, a lot of people went to PSD, and they said that our post PS1 CGPA will help us clear the cutoff criteria for multiple companies. My CGPA will be 7+, my CGPA will be 8+. So I think after day 1, AUGST released our PS1 CGPAs. So for companies which came after day 1, day 0, we were able to apply with the latest CGPA, which included PS1. You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm on mute.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of the day 1 for our summer internship talk series. So a big thank you to both of our speakers for taking the time to share their experiences, and to all of you for being such an attentive audience. So do not forget to join us tomorrow for day 2, where we'll be covering IT, quant, and electrical. So thank you once again and have a great evening. We'll be closing the session now.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.